today I'm going to be giving my first impressions on these three products. This is the Flower Beauty's Pore Perfect Instant Blur and Multitasking Foundation Stick. I'm also going to be trying out the Light Illusion Full Coverage Concealer. This is in the shade Light. And the e.l.f. Liner and Brow Cream in the shade Espresso. And I tried out all three of those products today for the very first time, and if you'd like to see what I thought of them and how they performed for me, then just keep watching. So the first product that I'm going to be trying out today is the Flower Beauty's Pore Perfect Instant Blur Stick plus the Multitasking Foundation. On one end it has, of course, the blur stick. That's how much product you get for the blur stick. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that. And this is so soft. Oh my gosh. As you can see, I mostly focused it right across my nose and my cheeks because that's where my pores are the biggest. And that little spot right on my forehead, I don't know why my foundation always sits kind of strange right there. So I figured I would try it out right there too. So I'm not going to take that all over the face, but that just is so incredibly soft. And now I'm going to take the foundation side, and I'm in the shade Porcelain. That's the lightest shade, I believe. You get the same amount of product from the foundation side. And I have personally never used a stick foundation, but I'm going to apply it all over my face, and then I'm going to blend it out with my sponge. This is supposed to be the lightest shade, which I typically am in any foundation, or at least almost the lightest. I'm Porcelain in pretty much every foundation that I wear. That doesn't say anywhere on the package, because this is all that, at least that I found of it. It didn't come in a box or anything like that, but there was no claims on coverage. There was nothing like that. It does feel like on my hands and on my skin very smooth and very creamy, but it doesn't really look like I put anything on my skin. And as much as I've ever seen, stick foundations have always been the ones with the higher coverage, and this doesn't really cover anything. But like I said, I didn't see anywhere any claims of the coverage, so maybe it's not supposed to be. Maybe it is supposed to be a low coverage foundation. So now I guess we'll see if this is buildable at all. But I feel like I used a considerable amount. It's kind of sloped a little bit now. So far though, right where I put, or especially where I put the blur stick, it is sitting on my skin very nicely, but as we can see, it isn't very thick or full coverage. The coverage is very buildable though. This side already looks way more covered than it did to begin with. And I had a dark mark right here. You can still sort of see it. The shade is definitely a little bit dark for me. Yeah, it's a little bit dark. So hopefully it doesn't oxidize any further. The coverage was definitely able to be built up if I can find anything online about what the coverage claims are, I'll try to insert a picture or something, a screenshot of what the claims are. I also got the by Flower Beauty, the Light Illusion Full Coverage Concealer. And for this, they did not have the lightest shade, so I'm a little bit concerned, especially because this was the lightest and it's a little bit dark for me. But this is the second lightest. This is in the shade Light. And this does say right on the package, full coverage concealer. It says it has a weightless formula for a second skin-like feel, and it is also supposed to be crease proof. Well, the shade's not too bad, especially for the foundation. Maybe if I used a different foundation underneath it, it would stand out a little bit more. I will say that none of this stuff feels heavy or cakey or anything. Concealer definitely has some yellow hues in it. Not necessarily a bad thing, just the store that I got this concealer from, they just didn't have the lightest shade in stock. Maybe the lightest shade has different undertones to it, but it doesn't look that bad. It's definitely something that is workable, and it is definitely full coverage. I really like the way that looks and is sitting on my skin. It did really well on my eyes to cover up the veins that I have that really stand out. I'm going to go ahead and use my regular contour stick by NYX. See how this blends out on top of this new foundation. It's blending out really easily. It's still looking very smooth. The blending that I'm doing right now did sort of take away a little bit of coverage on this other little mark that I have on my face. Now I'm taking my AirSpun powder and setting my under eyes. I have a fan over on this side of me that is really working against me with this loose powder. I'm getting, maybe it's my sponge, I'm not really sure, but all around where I've just put that powder, there's like this line, this dark cast line. Like right here, even the powder looks dark, but there's just a line there and a line there. Even on my chin, there's a line that is coming up right there. I'm not really sure why that is. I've never had that happen to me before. That concealer claimed to be crease proof, but I'm definitely having some creasing on my eyes. I've never used a concealer that didn't do that, but it did claim that it was going to be crease proof, so there's that to look out for. The next product that I'm going to be trying isn't a new product at all. Neither really was the Flower Beauty products that I used, but it's the e.l.f. brow pomade. It's the Lock-On Liner and Brow Cream in the shade Espresso. The only brow product that I've ever used is my usual one from Avon, the Perfect Eyebrow Kit. So this is going to be my first time using a pomade. So we'll see how that goes, and I will also insert side-by-side pictures comparing what my eyebrow looks like with the pomade and what it looked like with my regular product, just to see But since this is my first time using a pomade, there definitely could and probably will be some user error happening. Ooh, that's dark. It is very dark. Maybe it wasn't necessarily the shade, it was just how much I picked up to begin with, because I'm able to use the product from the first line that I made and sort of spread it around, and it isn't as dark. It is still much darker than I would normally go for. Now that that brow is all cleaned up, and a little bit of working, since like I said I've never used the pomade before, I didn't really know what it was going to be like, but I finally got that brow looking like a brow, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and I'll be right back. So now after about 20 minutes of working that brow and having it turn out nothing like the first one, or not even at all, but they're on. Like I said before, and now after doing my brows, this eyeliner claiming to be crease proof, that's not the case. It actually came off my lid entirely in some places, and then all like caked up and creased in others. I'm just going to blend that back out. Maybe it's just my skin. Maybe my skin is wrong. I don't know. But, so now the brows are on. I don't have any other eye products or anything like that to try out. So I'm just going to throw on a simple wing liner. Now that liner is on, I'm going to curl my lashes and put on some mascara. So now I have gone ahead and just finished up the rest of the face, threw on some eyeliner, highlight, and mascara. I ended up actually powdering my entire face using my AirSpun powder, because my face didn't ever like dry down at all. It just sort of felt still wet and not like dewy, but just still like I just touched the stick itself. Like I said with the concealer, it claims to be crease proof. I personally am not getting that effect. That dark line that I mentioned before around the powder did mostly go away. It only stayed right here in this area. Not really sure why that happened. Right here it looks a little patchy. Not, the foundation doesn't look patchy. It just looks like a dry patch. That may be due to my powder instead of the foundation stick. Maybe if I used all Flower Beauty complexion products, it would sit better. Definitely if you're just looking at this face like you would normally, if I was just having a conversation, nobody would think that my makeup looked cakey or gross or anything like that. It definitely, shade's not too bad. It is a little bit darker than my neck. So I probably would use this again, just not on like a huge occasion, just because it is lighter coverage. I'm just not used to the dewiness of it. The eyebrow product, however, even though I had never used a pomade before, I really, really loved that. It was a little bit tricky to work with at first, but that I believe was due to me being inexperienced with products like that. The concealer definitely worked really well with carving out my eyebrows. Just with my hooded eyes, it did end up creasing. But yeah, overall I would definitely use all three of these products again, just in better circumstances for the products themselves. So yeah, that's all I've got.